Welcome to the channel. Today on the Maple Gunner, I'm going to be doing some practice shooting with my pistol. I do need to improve my accuracy in shooting with my pistol, as well as stance and my draw, reloads, just basic fundamentals. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video today. It's important to practice these fundamentals in order to improve your shooting and accuracy, as well as staying proficient with these skills. This could be just going to the range, shooting at targets, competition shooting, or in a professional capacity like military and law enforcement. To start off, I'm going to show you the stance that I use. And this is also the stance that I was trained to use in the military. You want to start off making sure your body is square to your target, facing forward. As a right-handed shooter, you're going to want your left leg slightly forward, your rear leg slightly back. You want to keep your rear leg straight and have a slight bend in your front knee. Make sure you don't over-exaggerate this stance, and a way to check that is you want to be able to see your toes in front of your knee. If your knee's too far forward, you will not be able to see your foot at all, and you're going to need to adjust your stance accordingly. You're also going to want to have most of your weight on your front foot and a slight bend right at your hips forward, just slightly. This stance has a few advantages. It's called a fighting stance. It provides you a very solid stance for shooting from, and you can also move if you need to. You can kick off backwards, move to the side, whatever have you, whatever you need to do. In a professional capacity like law enforcement or military, if you're in a situation where you have a threat close up, you're doing CQB, whatever have you, from this stance you can grab onto someone, you can fist fight them if you wanted to. You can draw your pistol, and you can even strike them in the face or the throat with your pistol. Next, we're going to talk about drawing your pistol. Now, this is something I do need a lot of practice on. I'm currently using a level 3 retention holster made by Safariland. I really like this holster. It is very secure. My pistol will not fall out. So what I have to do is defeat the retention mechanisms of this holster in order to draw it. And I really need to practice that so that I'm not fumbling my pistol or taking too long to draw. However, it's important that you're very smooth in your process of drawing your pistol. Getting it out as fast as you can to try and get that first round down range isn't necessarily going to help, because your accuracy is going to be off and quite possibly not have a proper grip on your pistol. So we had a saying in the military, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So when I come to the range and I do practicing with my pistol, I'll actually just practice my draw a few times prior to even loading and shooting targets. Okay, we're going to quickly go over drawing your pistol, getting a good grip, and making sure you punch out properly so that you can get an accurate first shot and also help mitigate recoil. So I'm going to come in a little closer so you can see what I'm doing better. So we're going to get back into our fighting stance. So when you go to draw your pistol, if you have a retention system, you're going to want to defeat that retention system. You're going to want to make sure that you have a high grip on the pistol with your shooting hand, with that beaver tail pushing right in on the meter hand between your thumb and index finger, you're going to pull it out, ensuring that your trigger finger is along the slide so you don't accidentally have a negligence discharge. And when you bring the pistol forward, you're going to want to marry your support hand over the top of the 3 fingers of your firing hand. And then you're going to want to make sure that you have that support hand rotated forward such that your rear knuckle of your thumb and your wrist are parallel to the firearm itself. And then have your thumb resting right on top of the thumb of your support hand. And if you look at my grip, you're going to want to take up as much of that grip as possible. You want to get as high up as you can so you can get good control of your pistol when shooting. When you punch out, make sure you have that slight bend in your elbows. Lock your wrists. The reason why I have a slight bend in my elbows is because if you lock your elbows out, it's harder to achieve a good wrist lockup. And your wrists tend to be what the recoil defeats first. So you want to have that slight bend, have your pistol at eye level so you can easily acquire your target. When you go to engage your target, you're going to want to put your trigger finger in the trigger guard. Now, I was initially taught to only use the very front portion of the pad of my finger. But you can, basically what you want to do is make sure that your trigger finger's in the trigger guard on the trigger, resting on the trigger, but you want it to be comfortable. So if you have to move it over a little bit, that's just fine. It's not going to affect your shot. So let's get back to that grip. Punch out. When you go to pull your trigger, make sure that you pull straight back. You don't want to pull to the side either way, because what that'll do is that'll either push your pistol to the left or pull it to the right if you're right-handed, and then of course the opposite if you're left-handed. Okay, a few quick points on the grip of your pistol. Once you get that grip with both your shooting hand and your supporting hand, you want your thumb right up there on the ledge, you want to apply pressure to the pistol grip with your shooting hand. You want to squeeze it a bit. You don't want to squeeze so tight that the pistol starts shaking or wobbling, but you want to have a bit of pressure there in order to keep a good grip. When you're punching out, you're leaning slightly forward. The reason for that is when you pull the trigger and the pistol cycles, the recoil is going to push back. So if you're leaning backwards, you're aiding the pistol in coming back towards you. So you want to lean forward a little bit just to give that extra support to help control recoil. Also, the reason for having your rear leg straight, slightly leaning forward, the object is when you pull the trigger, the gun cycles, and the recoil will travel to your wrists, through your arm, your shoulders, and then straight down to the ground. That's going to give you more positive control of your pistol while you're firing. Okay, let's do that again. Make sure you get a good grip on your pistol. nice and high, get out of the holster, marry it up with your support hand. You want to punch out, make sure you're slightly leaning forward from the waist. When you punch out, you don't want to push out too far or push too hard, because what will happen is your muzzle of your pistol is going to go down a bit, your shot will be low. You want to make sure that the pistol is nice and vertically straight. As well, you don't want it to the sides, because from this shooting position with this grip, you want that recoil to come straight back. If you have it canted to the side, it's going to affect how that recoil impulse travels from the pistol to your wrist, through your arms, shoulders, and downward. Along with having your support hand as high up on the pistol as possible and having the thumb of your support hand right on the ledge just below the slide, is when you're depressing the trigger and firing a round, sometimes depending on your trigger pull, some shooters may find that their pistol will move a bit to the left if they're not pulling straight back. So you can use the thumb of your support hand to push a bit to the right to help mitigate that. Just as well, you can use your support hand to pull back and pull that pistol down just a bit to help mitigate the pistol rising due to recoil. Now those two things, I believe that they're dependent on the shooter, their grip, and how they fire the pistol. Also, there's many other ways to do this, and depending on the size of your hands, the size of your pistol, you might need to modify your grip a bit in order to achieve a nice solid purchase on the pistol and acquire good wrist lockout with your elbow slightly bent. So that being said, this isn't the end-all be-all way to hold your pistol and shoot.